The story begins with Frieren and her companions embarking on a journey to their city. Himmel suggests that they seek employment upon their arrival, as they have already successfully vanquished the Demon King. Upon reaching the city, they receive recognition from the king. Later, they attend a celebratory gathering where Himmel reveals the king's plan to erect statues of them in the plaza. Standing together, Himmel, Frieren, Eisen, and Heider reflect on the unexpected swiftness of their journey's conclusion, even though it took them a decade to complete. They fondly reminisce about humorous moments from their adventures, such as Frieren being devoured by a mimic and Heider's eccentric behavior. Despite the challenges they faced, Himmel expresses his gratitude for having undertaken this journey with them. Their contemplative gaze turns toward the sky, where they observe the Era meteor shower. Frieren nonchalantly explains her indifference to the event, prompting Himmel to request that she not dampen the festive mood. In response, Frieren promises to show Himmel a better vantage point to view the meteor shower in 50 years. The next day, Frieren informs her friends that she intends to leave to collect spells and explore the central lands for the next century. As she departs, Himmel ponders what life will be like for Frieren. The narrative offers glimpses of Frieren's solo adventures, including her quest to obtain a shadow dragon horn. However, she is disappointed when the shopkeeper informs her that such an item is unavailable. Frieren recalls Himmel acquiring a similar horn during their expedition to the Demon King's castle. She decides to retrieve it from him during their next reunion, which coincides with the approaching Era meteor shower. Upon her return to the city, Frieren is taken aback by the dramatic changes it has undergone. She reunites with Himmel, but is shocked to see how much he has aged. Himmel reminds her that 50 years have passed, though he insists she still appears unchanged. Himmel hands over the Shadow Dragon horn, confessing that he had always planned to return it to her. Frieren sends a horn away to a secure location, and then visits Himmel at his home to take him along before the upcoming meteor shower. Frieren and Himmel rejoin Heider and Eisen, where they notice Heider has aged considerably, while Eisen, due to his dwarf heritage, remains unchanged. Frieren shares the news that it will take a week to reach the optimal spot for viewing the Era meteor shower, disappointing Himmel. As they continue their journey, Himmel fondly reminisces about their adventures and expresses his gratitude to Frieren for the unforgettable experiences they shared. At the same time, they all gaze at the meteor shower ahead. The story then transitions to Himmel's funeral, where Heider affirms that Himmel is content. Frieren overhears some individuals commenting on her seeming lack of emotion regarding Himmel's passing. Heider defends her, reminding them that they are also allies and not mourning his death. As Himmel is laid to rest, Frieren reflects on the moments they shared during their 10-year journey, and despite her limited time with him, she begins to cry, regretting that she did not get to know him better. Eisen and Heider offer comfort. Following the funeral, Frieren and Eisen bid farewell to Heider, who is headed to the Holy City. He jokes about the possibility of death, which surprises Frieren, but Heider assures her that, as legendary heroes, they will lead fulfilling lives in heaven after their eventual demise. He encourages Frieren to do the same. She confides in Eisen about her plans to learn more about humans. Frieren attempts to persuade Eisen to accompany her, but he declines, citing his age as a barrier to participating in further adventures. Thus, they part ways. The story then features a brief title card before revealing that 20 years have passed since Himmel's death, and Frieren currently finds herself on the outskirts of the Holy See of Strahl in the Central Lands, lost in the woods. In this unfamiliar territory, Frieren is noticed by a purple-haired girl named Fern, a war orphan from the southern lands. Frieren explains her travels and the desire to repay her debt to Heider before his eventual passing. Heider requests that Frieren take Fern as her apprentice despite Fern's promising abilities as a mage. However, Frieren declines, fearing that Fern's involvement may lead to her untimely death as requested by Heider. Heider introduces Frieren to a book uncovered from a sage's tomb, which contains long-lost spells related to resurrection and immortality. He asks Frieren if she can decipher the text, and she expresses confidence in her ability to do so, estimating it will take 5 to 6 years. Although Heider had no fear of death 20 years earlier, he now admits that he is apprehensive as it draws near. He asks Frieren to teach Fern magic during her spare time, a request to which Frieren eventually agrees, recognizing the difference in their knowledge and abilities. Frieren later meets with Fern and recognizes her latent potential as a mage. Fern mentions that Heider suggested she would become a true mage when she could blast a nearby rock. Impressively, Fern manages to shoot a beam that narrowly misses the target. Frieren inquires if Fern enjoys magic, to which Fern confesses her love for it. Frieren realizes that she shares similarities with Fern. Later, Frieren provides Fern with an explanation of long-range magic. Frieren guides Fern through the reasons her long-range spell dissipated before reaching its target, attributing it to insufficient mana and firing strength. Frieren, however, commends Fern for her exceptional control over magic, a skill many struggle to master. A montage shows Frieren's dual roles, deciphering the grimoire assigned by Heider and monitoring Fern's progress. 4 years elapse and Heider inquires about Fern's progress. Frieren shares that Fern's performance exceeds expectations but voices concern about her potentially exceeding her limits. Frieren assures Heider that she will complete the grimoire decryption before Fern becomes a full-fledged mage. However, before she can discuss potential issues with Heider, he collapses, leading to a scene where Heider lies in bed with Frieren at his side. Frieren promises Heider that she will expedite the grimoire deciphering process and leave. Spotting Fern engaged in training, Frieren requests her to pause and attend to Heider, but Fern adamantly refuses. She is determined to become a proper mage as she anticipates Hyder's impending passing. Fern reveals that Hyder once saved her life, and a flashback shows Hyder's initial encounter with Fern. Facing her despair and suicidal thoughts, Hyder persuades her not to give up on life. Hyder shares his past experiences with Himmel and expresses his desire to be more like him. He admits that he initially intended to live in isolation. Still, Himmel's influence convinced him to make a meaningful impact on the world before his time was up, preserving the memories and lessons he learned from Himmel. He tells Fern that if she cherishes her memories of the world, it would be a disservice to end her life prematurely. In the present, Fern tells Frieren that she doesn't necessarily desire to become a mage or acquire significant skills. Her primary motivation is to repay Hyder for his kindness. Frieren is swayed by Fern's determination and allows her to continue her training. As time passes, Frieren confides in Hyder while he is in bed. Frieren admits that the grimoire did not contain any spells related to resurrection or immortality. Hyder acknowledges that he was aware of this outcome, hinting at the reason for his request regarding the grimoire. He deflects Frieren's question and seeks an update on Fern's progress. Frieren mentions that Fern is approaching the level of a proper mage. Frieren realizes that Hyder orchestrated her involvement in Fern's training to make her competent enough to travel with him. Hyder discloses that her payment for deciphering the grimoire is in the desk drawer and urges her to leave the area that night, fearing that Fern might experience his death. He pleads with Frieren to take care of Fern. Frieren implores Hyder to grant Fern a proper farewell, as Fern is aware of his eventual passing. Before departing, she inquires about Hyder's motivation for saving Fern. Hyder responds that it's something Himmel would have done, and Frieren aspires to follow in Himmel's footsteps. Frieren and Fern pay their respects at Hyder's grave, and Fern expresses her gratitude for helping her fulfill her debt to him. The two companions embark on a new journey together. During their journey, while Frieren and Fern tackle a task involving pumpkins, a text note indicates that they are in the Turk region and 26 years have passed since Himmel's death. Following this, they continue their quest for spells. Fern reproaches Frieren for her fascination with bizarre spells, suggesting that she should focus on saving lives rather than wasting time on an uncertain quest. The herbalist they meet offers advice to Fern, suggesting that she communicate her feelings to Frieren. Following the herbalist's guidance, Fern gives Frieren seeds from a species resembling the blue moon weed flowers. Frieren promises to conclude her search, though Fern senses that Frieren is not ready to give up. They persist in their quest, and Fern questions Frieren's fascination with collecting spells. Frieren reveals that it's a hobby she adopted after living apathetically, crediting Himmel for changing her perspective. Frieren finds a blue moon seed flower petal, triggering memories of a moment she shared with Himmel regarding the plant. Frieren and Fern come across a field of blue moon seed flowers, leading to a return visit to Himmel's statue, where Frieren magically conjures the field. Later, Frieren places a wreath of blue moon seed flowers on Himmel's statue, mirroring a similar act Himmel once performed for her in a flashback. Afterward, Frieren along with Fern explore the warm city. Frieren suggests they divide to restock their travel supplies, and Fern is given a list of the essential items to purchase. However, she suspects that Frieren may acquire unnecessary items, recalling past instances when this happened. Frieren departs with a promise to meet Fern at the inn later, but Fern decides to follow her to ensure she doesn't overspend secretly. Fern discovers Frieren at an accessory shop, appearing mildly concerned. Frieren picks up an item and leaves, with Fern continuing to trail her. Frieren inquires about dessert shops and receives information from locals at a tavern before heading back to the inn. Fern realizes she forgot to complete her shopping task, causing her to put her observation mission on hold temporarily. Upon reuniting, Frieren scolds Fern for her tardiness, and they dine in an outdoor restaurant. Frieren generously encourages Fern to order whatever she desires, mentioning her savings. Fern suggests trying Merker pudding, which triggers a memory of a similar moment Frieren shared with Himmel and the others at an eatery. Frieren apologizes to Fern for not understanding her interests and tastes as well as Himmel did. Frieren presents Fern with a gift from the accessory shop, and Fern expresses gratitude for Frieren's effort to get to know her. The two leave Warm City to resume their journey, and Fern questions the purpose of their journey together. Frieren admits she lacks a specific goal beyond finding spells, but expresses her desire to revisit places she experienced with Himmel and the others. Frieren acknowledges Fern's growth since they first met, highlighting her age of 16 and teasingly suggesting she can be like an older sister due to her height. They reach Grove Forest and engage in a spar to test Fern's progress as a mage. Subsequently, they continue their travels, and Fern questions Frieren's emphasis on teaching her defensive magic. Frieren explains that it increases her chances of survival. The duo arrives at a secluded village where Frieren has a specific purpose. They meet a man who knows of Frieren's intention to see Qual, a sage sealed away 80 years ago for his crimes, and reveals that Himmel, Frieren, and their companions were responsible for the sealing. Frieren informs the man that Qual's seal is weakening, prompting her to visit and defeat him. The man shares stories about Himmel's annual visits to the town, where he checked on the seal and shared tales of Frieren with the villagers. He guides them to Qual, and Frieren plans to confront him the following day. During the night, Frieren shares the backstory of why they sealed Qual. His formidable power and his devastating spell, Zoltrak, made him nearly unbeatable. While they manage to seal him away, Frieren doesn't reveal why Zoltrak led to his defeat. She suggests they get some rest, promising that Fern will learn more the next day. Frieren releases Qual's seal, and they engage in a battle. Thanks to Fern's mastery of defensive magic, they successfully block Qual's Zoltrak attack. Frieren reveals the aftermath of sealing Qual, explaining how mages analyzed Zoltrak's principles and integrated them into humanity's magic system, resulting in powerful new defensive spells. In the end, Frieren and Fern defeat Qual using his own spell. Grateful townspeople express their appreciation for their assistance. As Frieren reflects on the straw hat-wearing man in the village, she remembers an incident from her childhood when he playfully lifted her skirt. Fern and Frieren continue their journey, and the episode concludes with Fern's heartfelt remark about Himmel's enduring belief in Frieren. 28 years after Himmel's demise, Fern and Frieren embark on a journey through the challenging Grand's Channel alongside an elderly companion. This experienced guide expounds on the region's arduous nature and fondly recalls its once pristine beauty. He offers Fern a book penned by the legendary mage Flam as compensation for their cleanup efforts, albeit the book turns out to be a counterfeit. Fern's keen observation reveals the book's true nature, but Frieren remains determined to fulfill the task, driven by her unwavering commitment to aiding those in need. After Fern procures some bread from a local shop, she becomes aware of the 3-month duration they've spent in the area. Upon returning to their quarters, Fern is met with disarray and takes on the responsibility of guiding a languid Frieren towards their destination. During their cleaning duties, Fern doesn't shy away from acknowledging Frieren's less than pristine habits. The conversation turns to Himmel's group and how they manage Frieren's occasional indolence. Frieren confesses that Himmel and her companions were a unique bunch, occasionally disappointed by her habits. The pair shares a meal at their client's abode and expresses their intent to clean up before the New Year's festival. As they set out to clean the town's beach at dawn, Frieren expounds on the significance of completing their task before the festival, owing to a picturesque sunrise that graces the occasion. Frieren laments her past inability to witness such a spectacle due to her erratic sleep schedule and pledges to pull an all-nighter this time. Nevertheless, Frieren succumbs to oversleeping once again, and Fern must intervene to ensure she doesn't miss the sunrise. Frieren remains somewhat perplexed by the sunrise's allure, prompting a reflection on Himmel's fascination with it. Before returning to their quarters, Fern reassures Frieren of the sunrise's beauty. Frieren's subsequent contemplation leads to a newfound appreciation for the sunrise's magnificence. The narrative briefly transitions to a flashback featuring Himmel, Heider, Frieren, and Eisen inspecting artifacts. Eisen recalls the tragedy that befell his village at the hands of demons, initiating a conversation on the concept of heaven and the differing perspectives each member holds. The group offers their prayers to statues, and the scene transitions seamlessly to the present, with Eisen continuing his prayers at the same spot. Frieren and Fern rejoin Eisen and embark on a journey to Vol Basin in search of notes pertaining to Flam, the legendary mage. Eisen discloses his motivation for seeking these notes, driven by his empathy for Frieren and her yearning for more time with Himmel. Learning of a rumor that Flam could communicate with the departed, Eisen deemed it vital to grant Frieren this power to convey her sentiments to Himmel. Their quest leads them to a colossal tree shielded by a formidable barrier, hinting at Flam's role as Frieren's mentor. A flashback reveals Flam's wisdom, emphasizing the value of forging deeper connections with people and urging Frieren to return when the time was right. The barrier is eventually unsealed, granting access to a hidden area containing Flam's grimoire. Frieren delves into the grimoire's content, uncovering details about speaking with the dead. Flam's account describes her arrival at Oriel, the realm of resting souls or heaven. There she engaged in conversations with numerous individuals, including former comrades. Frieren learns that Oriel now resides in Enbib, the site housing the Demon King's castle, prompting Eisen to stress the importance of Frieren's visit to speak with Himmel. Fern's attempts to wake Frieren prove futile, leading to a discussion between Eisen and Fern regarding Frieren's qualities as a master. Although Fern has some reservations, she acknowledges Frieren's generosity. The narrative briefly revisits a flashback where Frieren expresses her reluctance to take on an apprentice due to the belief that it would be a futile endeavor. Eisen counters by asserting that Frieren is indeed a commendable master. Eisen decides to remain behind to avoid impeding their journey, warning Fern that reaching the Demon King's castle will be a decade-long endeavor. As the story unfolds, Fern reminds Frieren that a significant portion of her life has already passed, and Frieren encourages her to brace herself for more time slipping away. Heider, their companion in spirit, advises Fern to heed Frieren's guidance during their travels, or he'll haunt her in the afterlife. Fern's demonstration of cleverness eventually convinces Heider to promise a visit if she treats Frieren kindly. Frieren and Fern venture to a town located in the Wild region, where they receive a warning from a local about the perilous mountain pass, plagued by numerous disappearances. Further inquiries among the townsfolk lead Fern to deduce that people have witnessed the apparitions of deceased loved ones and acquaintances. Frieren suspects a powerful monster is at the heart of this phenomenon and suggests avoiding any contact with it. Fern, on the other hand, proposes helping the troubled townspeople before moving on. Their exploration of the treacherous mountain pass is filled with investigation and contemplation. Fern speculates that the mysterious entity is using illusion magic to ensnare its victims. Frieren identifies it as an Einsim, a cunning monster with a penchant for preying on humans. It notes that its illusions hold no threat for mages, as they can be dispelled with high-level offensive magic. Frieren advises Fern to eliminate any phantoms they encounter as they traverse the mist-shrouded forest. During their journey, a phantom materializes, taking on the appearance of an elderly Heider. Fern is taken aback by the phantom's ability to delve into her memories. Another phantom resembling Himmel interposes itself before Frieren, surprising her with a choice of form, prompting her to reflect on her transformation. Together, Frieren and Fern vanquish these apparitions and proceed to Rydal Canyon, where they spot a solar dragon guarding a grimoire within its nest. Frieren's determination to secure the grimoire leads her to desire the dragon's defeat. However, Fern's magical attempts prove ineffective, awakening the dragon and prompting a hasty retreat. Frieren proposes recruiting a companion capable of handling such challenges in the future. This transition takes us to a flashback involving Aizen and Frieren, who discuss Stark, a formidable frontliner and warrior. Aizen reveals that Stark is his apprentice and a skilled combatant. The narrative progresses as Frieren informs Fern that the grimoire contains a spell allowing one to see through clothing, emphasizing its potential benefits. They are joined by a woman who shares the dragon's history and Stark's role in protecting the village. Stark, in a friendly encounter, requests that they refrain from meddling with the dragon for the sake of the villagers. Frieren, introducing herself, privately converses with Stark about her intentions, and Stark discloses his hesitation to return to Aizen's side. Frieren persuades Stark to join their party and become their frontliner to vanquish the dragon. Stark agrees, but with one condition. He requires their assistance in distracting the dragon for 30 seconds. Stark eventually opens up about his past fear, revealing that the dragon had left the village by sheer chance, and he had pretended to scare it away. As doubts arise among the trio about including Stark, Frieren assures Fern of his capability. Frieren grants Stark a day to solidify his decision as they head to a local diner. While contemplating Stark's inclusion, Fern grapples with uncertainties arising from his timidity. Their departure from the diner is punctuated by a loud disturbance, prompting Frieren to assume that Stark is engaged in training. Fern is tasked with checking on him while Frieren seeks rest at their inn. A flashback at their campground resurfaces, featuring a conversation between Aizen and Frieren concerning Stark's past as a timid individual. Aizen sees similarities between Stark and himself, prompting him to take Stark under his wing as an apprentice. He assures Frieren of Stark's potential as a valiant warrior and a suitable addition to their journey. Later, Stark and Fern engage in a conversation about the daunting dragon. While Stark would rather not engage with the dragon, he acknowledges his duty as the village's hero to do so. He confides in Fern, recounting a battle with Aizen that left him scared and unpraised. Fern believes Stark isn't one to run from a challenge, reminiscing about her own past encounter with fear while confronting a monster during training. She shares how she faced her fears and triumphed without Frieren's assistance, relying on her determination. The following day, Stark approaches Frieren and Fern to discuss the dragon. He expresses his desire for Frieren to finish off the dragon if he's unable to maintain it for the promised 30-second time limit. The trio proceeds to the dragon's lair, where Stark's nervousness becomes evident. Frieren draws a parallel between Stark's demeanor and Aizen's, who displayed similar body language during their past travels. Stark initiates the battle with the dragon, while Frieren provides a monologue about the dragon and Aizen's previous encounter with Stark. In a flashback, Aizen clarifies that he never intended to harm Stark on the day of their parting, even though their farewell was marked by heated disagreements. He acknowledges that his reflexes took over and expresses deep regret for his actions, admitting he was apprehensive of Stark's potential as a formidable warrior. Stark manages to defeat the dragon, earning praise from Frieren, who promptly rushes to claim the dragon's treasure. While gathering loot, Stark shares with Frieren the amusing stories that Aizen told him about her quirky habits. In another flashback, Aizen confides in Himmel about his exasperation with their whimsical escapades, while Himmel appreciates the lightheartedness of their journey compared to more somber experiences. With their mission complete and having helped the village, Stark, Fern, and Frieren continue their journey. After some playful experimentation with the see-through clothes spells, Stark expresses his desire to accompany them on their quest to reach Oriole. Upon arriving at the fortress city of Wall, the group encounters a guard who denies them passage due to increased monster activity in the northern lands. The guard cautions them not to cause any disturbances within the city. Frieren suggests that they use their time to study magic while waiting for the monster's situation to be resolved. She then heads to find accommodations while Stark decides to satisfy his appetite. Fern, however, overhears conversations among locals discussing the shutdown of sea routes and the potential 2-year delay for the checkpoint to reopen. Meanwhile, Stark fondly reminisces about his past with Aizen while savoring a dessert he once enjoyed. Fern approaches Stark, her mood sobered by the unsettling news, and reveals the lengthy wait they might face. Stark, uninterested in waiting, resolves to find a way through the checkpoint. Their pursuit of alternatives takes them to the Merchants Guild and the black market, but their efforts yield no success. Stark eventually suggests they visit the guard station regarding the checkpoint. Atop the city's wall, Stark shares a reminiscent moment he had with Aizen in a similar setting, revealing his eagerness to leave the city as soon as possible. He expresses his desire for fun and whimsy during their travels with Frieren and her before sharing his experiences with Aizen. As they discuss their plans, Frieren is discovered hiding in the city and reveals she's being monitored by the guards for an unknown reason. The guard who initially denied them passage offers an apology, and the city's Castellan approaches with a sincere apology as well. Acknowledging Frieren's legendary status, the Castellan grants passage to Frieren and her companions through the checkpoint. The episode concludes with our trio passing through the checkpoint and Frieren expressing a wish to have spent more time in the city.
The hero's party was rewarded a grimoire written by Flamey as a reward. Flamey is the fairy tale to our characters. Present time, Frieren wakes up in the morning. Fern tells Stark they must reward Frieren for not being lazy. Stark rubs her shoulders and Fern feeds her. There is a landslide and Stark uses a shovel to move rocks. Frieren uses magic to move rocks. Stark asks why she doesn't use magic to carry the cart over this landslide. She says this was Fern's idea because it is more rewarding. As they move rocks to clear a path, Stark asks Fern if she can be nicer to him. She will try in her own way. Once the path is cleared, Frieren tells us she barely sees elves. She barely sees her own kind. They arrive to a town where they are having a celebration for Himmel and his party for defeating the demon of this land. Flashback to this town making the statue of the 4 heroes. Himmel tells Frieren he wants statues made of them so they are remembered and everyone can see how handsome he is. His real answer to why he wants statues made of himself and them all the time is so Frieren is never alone. The humans will not live as long as her. Present time, the man they helped over the landslide mentions how the elf Frieren looks like the hero Frieren. None of them tell him she is one of the heroes. They just kind of let it go. The next day, our 3 main characters leave to go further north. They do not stay for the celebration. The next town they arrive to has a lot of guards. Frieren sees a demon and tries to attack him. Frieren is tackled to the ground, and the demons and humans are here together because they're trying to do a peace treaty. The demon, Lugnir, asks if the human, Granite, if he hired her to do this. He says no. He does hate the demons, but he's not stupid to openly kill them. Lugnir wonders why Frieren looks at him with different hatred than anyone else. They have her taken away and locked up. Lugnir and Granite are trying to do a peace treaty talk, and they cannot have any disturbance. Fern and Stark visit Frieren in her cell. They say she will be here for 2 to 3 years. Frieren tells her, Ayora, who served the Demon King, regained her powers 28 years ago. Ayora's army and this town have been at war. Ayora is not happy about it anymore and sent some demons to talk about a peace treaty. This all makes it seem like Ayora started the fight and then gets upset that the town fought back and is still fighting the demons. She's not allowed to be upset for that. Frieren gives us a flashback of what demons are like. Demons eat humans. A demon child ate a human child. The demon can talk. It is not said directly that maybe eating a human can allow them to talk. I am truly guessing. I think this is wrong. The demon girl lives with the village chief to see if she is dangerous. She enjoys life, and she is nice. Then, one night she kills the village chief and says his daughter now belongs to the parents of the human the demon ate. Himmel and the village no longer play nice. Himmel takes the girl and Frieren kills the demon. The demon says they say words like mother because to them the word means nothing, but they understand that that word means something to others, and that keeps them alive longer. Present time, Fern and Stark do not have anything to say about this story. Lugnir is interested to learn more about Frieren. He wants to know how Frieren knows secrets about the demons that no one else does. Granite tells Lugnir his son was killed by them. He is mad. Lugnir says his men killed his father. They are even at this point. Lugnir tries to reason with Granite by using family terms against him. For now, no one will fight. In private, Lugnir admits he doesn't know what the word father means. He doesn't know what a father is. A demon draft goes to Fernan's cell to kill her. The demons want a peace treaty only so it can be easier for them to take over this town. Draft wraps Ryer around Frieren's neck. He tries to kill her. It doesn't work. Frieren is stronger. Frieren breaks free and uses magic to cut both Draft's hands off. Next, she kills him. She makes a comment how demons nowadays do not have battle experience, and that makes them weak. In a way, she is correct. Battle will make someone stronger. Frieren leaves her cell and sees the guard is dead. Will Frieren actually go to report this or keep it a secret? Fern and Stark are talking about how Frieren is in jail. They need to have her released so the demons do not hurt anyone in this town. The demons cannot sense Draft's magic anymore. They know he is dead. Granite enters their room to tell the demons Frieren has escaped. The demons offer to help look for her so peace is not disturbed. Granite says that is not necessary. He questions them on where Draft is. The demons lie. Granite does not believe this. He points out again Draft is missing, and it was odd the powerful mage allowed herself to be captured and held until now. Like she could have easily overpowered every single one of them. He asks the demon what is truly going on. Lugnir kills the soldiers using blood magic. Blood magic is very literal. He can control the blood when it is out of his body. Lugnir is stronger. He tells Granite to lower the town's defense barrier. Stark and Fern walk by Frieren on the streets. Fern stops Frieren from walking past them. Frieren tells them a demon tried to kill her, so she killed him. The guard was killed by the demon. When demons die, they disappear. No bodies left behind. Since Frieren is there with a dead human body and cannot prove a demon was actually in the dungeon she left, she will be accused of killing the guard. She plans on leaving town. She does not plan to fight the demons in this town. She tells Fern and Stark to fight them instead. They tell her they are not strong enough. Frieren says she thinks they are. If Frieren knew Granite knows the demons have been playing the humans, she would stay and help. She doesn't, so she is leaving. I think she will be back. She will not actually abandon this town. Fern drags Stark away as he cries about fighting the demons without Frieren. Frieren can sense Ayora is super close to the town. She is actually leaving the town to fight Ayora. See, I knew Frieren wasn't going to not help. At night, Stark and Fern sneak into the mansion. They are making sure to be super quiet. They notice the mansion is also quiet. Even though it is nighttime, the quiet vibe is off. Lugnir talks to Granite and says how he loves magic. Demons research magic. He says demon magic will be stronger in 10 years. He tells us, let me cast the Aurora lights around the town to help keep demons out. Remember, if you see the Aurora lights or Northern lights, depending on what your country calls them, that is from Flamey to ensure demons leave you alone. Flamey is protecting you. Flashback to one snowy winter day, Flamey cast magic over nature trying to grow to protect it against the cold. Present time, Lugnir hates Flamey. I mean, it's kind of a given. Flamey keeps demons out of this town, so it shouldn't be a surprise Lugnir had to go into a rant about how he hates Flamey. It's just an automatic right there. Lugnir wants to be taught how to control the barrier. He leaves Granite alone to have some time to think. As Granite is left alone, the demons will be searching for a grimoire in the library and in Granite's room on how the defense barrier works. Stark finds Granite. Granite notices Stark's hands are trembling. Stark is so afraid he cannot cut the ropes holding Granite. Granite tells him to take his necklace. The guards will listen to him with it, and in a funny way to lighten the mood, tells Stark to not talk casually to a noble. Stark says he will break the chair to release him. The demons walk in. Lugnir tells Stark if he leaves now, he will live. Stark does not leave. Fights Lugnir. Lugnir is stronger and is able to pin Stark on the ground. Lugnir comments how both demon and human have young who are reckless. Lugnir says he is impressed Stark attacked him alone. Stark says he is not alone. They do not know Fern is there because she is hiding her presence. Fern is able to blast magic at Lugnir. He is a demon. This is not enough to kill him. He is weak though. Lenny and Fern are about to face off when Stark breaks the chair and says they need to leave to get medical help right now. Lugnir tells Lenny to go after the boy. He also says his blood is on them, so he can track where they go. Lugnir is interested in Fern. She used the old magic Zoltrack. That magic does not exist anymore. That magic is hurtful to demons. She should not know it because the mage years ago who helped analyze Zoltrack was many years ago. Oh wait. That mage was Fernan. Fernan, who he is afraid of. All demons are afraid of her. He met her again in this town and let her get away. That was a stupid move. Fernan is known as Fernan the Slayer, who is about to fight Ayora. Episode 9 starts out with Stark and Fern making sure Grant is safe and healing. Grant tells Stark and Fern after learning Fernan's name, Fernan was the mage with the hero Himmel, who years ago drove demons away from the city. She protected them. We switch to Fernan stopping Ayora. This was such a smooth transaction. As Grant was talking about the demons and Frieren, we see images, and once Grant stops talking, Fernan talks. It really was a great transaction between one scene to the other. Frieren tells Ayora to leave. Ayora says no. Ayora has her dead army attack Frieren. Ayora says she has a stronger advantage than the last time they fought. This is the scales of obedience. Grant tells us all about it in a scene change. He tells Stark and Fern the scales let her control others. Either someone with a powerful will or someone who has more mana than Ayora will be able to defeat her. The atmosphere in this episode is different by being more serious. Nothing is funny. All the good and bad characters understand this night is very serious. The scene changes between Frieren and Aurora talking to each other, and then Grant talking helps show the audience the full story of what is happening. Neither scene change, I feel like, is taking away from the plot. Stark decides he wants to go find Frieren and help defeat the demons. The show has Stark try to do a funny moment. I did not appreciate it. I was really loving the dramatic setting, and then it was cool to have this funny moment, but I just wanted it to stay dramatic. Stark and Fern go outside, and Fern will say to protect those in the area. Stark will seek out Fernan. Fern mentions Stark's arm are both bloody. Stark says she also has blood on her. Fern realizes this is the blood from Lugnir and throws her coat away. It is too late. Fern gets attacked by the blood magic, and Stark is attacked by a demon. Lugnir asks Fern questions. He asks if Stark is strong. She says yes. He then asks where Fernan is. Fern says she left town. she doesn't actually know where Fernan went. Fern is able to break free, and now she asks Lugnier where Fernan is. He doesn't say. Fern says she has been kept alive because he wanted to, or like he only sees Fernan as a threat and Fern cannot kill him. Fern and Lugnier fight. They fight to not die, and also it is a mage fight. Basically, it is to see who is stronger with magic. While the mages fight, Linny and Stark fight. Linny can use multiple weapons. Stark was taught by Ison, and Linny is able to imitate Ison's movement. Lugnier, who knows Fernan, is now fighting her student, Fern. The same is similar to Linny fighting Ison's student, Stark. Stark gets beaten up badly. When he is down and can hardly move, we get a flashback of Ison giving Stark a prep talk from the past. This allows Stark to stand and fight again. Fern also had a flashback this episode earlier, which was Fern asking Fernan about her training and if Fern is enough. Stark is able to defeat Linny. Flashback of a younger Fernan and Flamey. They're walking in the woods, and Fernan is told by Flamey demons use words to deceive. Demons are bad. Present time, Fern and Lugnier guess that Frieren and Ayora are fighting each other right now. Lugnier tells Fern last time Frieren had the 3 heroes by her side. This time she does not. Ayora is stronger and they are going to win. There's a flash and we are in the past. Flamey arrives to a village that is burning. Elves lived in this village and they have died. Flamey sees Frieren and can tell Frieren has a lot of mana. This is the first time Flamey and Frieren met. Episode 10, we learn about Frieren's past with Flamey, and we learn more about Flamey. Flamey decides to raise Frieren. They are both mages, so it makes sense to Flamey. Flamey carries Frieren away from her town that just got burned when 3 demons appear. Flamey easily kills them. Flamey tells Frieren since Frieren is seeing her use magic for a few seconds, Flamey actually hides some of her mana so others do not know how strong she really is. Flamey deceives others just like demons. Demons use words to deceive, and Flamey uses concealing her mana to deceive. They, Flamey and demons, might look weak, however, they are not. Frieren is reading scrolls, still in the past. Frieren's injuries have healed. We get to the present past flashback of the beginning of episode 10 where Flamey and Frieren are walking in the woods. They arrive to an open field. Flamey tells Frieren she's doing a great job of suppressing some of her mana presence. Flamey tells Frieren she will always have to hide her true magic mana presence. This will deceive demons who are already deceiving every other race. After almost 11 minutes in episode 10, we go to the current present day of Frieren and Aurora fighting. Aurora speaks and says she can no longer feel Lugnier's presence. Lugnier has died. That was probably why we saw a flash that took us into a past. Ayora is going to use the scales. Frieren can feel Ayora is very powerful. Demons do not hide their mana. They shouldn't anyways. The time for the scales of obedience to weigh Ayora and Frieren to see who is stronger and who will win happens. We go back to the past of Frieren as a child again. I'm annoyed by this back and forth. The anime was doing good the last few episodes of not doing a lot of flashbacks. I know these flashbacks are to help, but I was content without them. Flamey and Frieren walk around the town they are living in. Flamey tells her demons want a society to defeat humans and other races. It is easy to have a society that follows one person. Even though demons are individuals, if they have one person make all the rules, it allows others to form a community, and that community can be easily followed. Demons value power. The more mana a demon has, the higher up they are in the society community scale, which is why demons will not suppress their mana. Frieren is practicing concealing her mana presence. Old! Flamey's old. This is the first time we see her old. I am not a fan of whatever this is. Whatever is going on, this can end. 50 years have passed, I think. Because Flamey says 50 years ago when I taught you, so I think 50 years have passed. Flamey says she is happy she taught Frieren all her spells. Frieren is powerful and an elf. Frieren has a better chance than anyone of defeating the Demon King because she knows all of Flamey's spells and can spend a lot of time practicing her magic. Flamey says she wants flowers all around her grave. Her favorite spell is one that creates flowers in a field. This is why she wants a field of flowers. When Flamey dies, Frieren lives alone. Many years pass. As time passes, Himmel, Heiter, and Ison seek out Frieren. They heard a mage lived in a forest. Himmel does not believe Frieren is weak like she just told them, so she can be left alone. Himmel convinces Frieren to join them, and we now know how our 4 heroes have met. Well, we know how Frieren met the other 3. I don't know if we know how Himmel Himmel, Heiter, and Isen met. Present time, Ayora's and Frieren's souls are being weighed. Ayora is confident she will win, and the scales do show Ayora is more powerful. Ayora is happy she won. Slowly, the scales tilt, and Frieren tells Ayora she should have had common sense. Frieren has lived longer than Ayora. Why did Ayora think the elf who lived longer is weaker? That doesn't make any sense to Frieren. Frieren reveals her true powers, and her mana is big. It is very strong. Ayora loses. Ayora, because of the scales, is under Frieren's control. Frieren tells Ayora to die. Aurora does. Aurora is dead now. Frieren walking on the empty battlefield. Fern finds Frieren praying and she joins. They are praying for the fallen. More characters arrive. Grant says Frieren's crimes are pardoned. Frieren didn't use any flashy spells like she used to. She remembers Himmel would get mad at her, so she has calmed down her spells. Frieren says she is proud of Fern and Stark for defeating the demons in the city. She says she would be more proud if they weren't beaten up. Stark replies, looking rough after a fight is normal for a warrior. The soldiers from the city walk around the battlefield and take in all the destruction and death. Back in the city, as a reward, Frieren requested the defense barrier grimoire by Flamey. This grimoire has been passed down in Grant's family. Frieren tells him the grimoire he has is fake. Grant says she is correct. The barrier protecting the city is not in the grimoire. The spell is passed down by oral communication. Frieren says she knows that. She just collects items as a hobby and she wants this fake grimoire. Fern was told by Heiter that disrespecting nobility is a death penalty. Frieren says Himmel nor Isen got in trouble for speaking casually to Noble. Stark remembers Grant telling him to not speak casually to him as he was being rescued. Grant tells them they will not be thrown in prison nor die for speaking casually to him. The townspeople at night celebrate Frieren, Fern, and Stark for saving them. They spend time in the city being healed, acting normal, getting new clothes, helping the city, partying more, and doing a proper burial to the army. It is sometime in the colder months, so winter is either here or about to be here, I guess. Our characters will be leaving the city. Grant tells the characters traveling to Endi, where the demon castle is, will be hard. Travel is restricted. Anyone must have a first-class mage with them. Frieren has no idea what a first-class mage is. Fern tells her it is a mage with a certification awarded to them by the Central Magic Association. Fern has the certificate. She got it, which means she is a first-class mage. Good for her. Wait, never mind. Fern shows us her certificate and she is only a third-class mage. Frieren, who has lived a long time, tells them of course she doesn't have a certificate. There have been so many changes in her life. She has no desire to keep up with it all. The only thing she has is a holy emblem. This is probably not going to be accepted. Fern says and asks at the same time there should be a place up north to take the first-class exam. Grant tells them where to go to take the exam. It is now time to say goodbye to Grant and the city. On the journey, it starts to snow. Frieren tells Fern and Stark to be careful in the code. Vernon tells them what helped the heroes win against the Demon King army was the harsh winter. The winter took the most lives of the demons than the heroes did. Is the northern land in the anime Russia? As they travel, they get lost in the snow. Stark passes out from the cold. Frieren and Fern, who is carrying Stark, try to find an emergency shelter at the bottom of the mountain. They find the cabin and an elf is inside working out. The other elf tells Frieren it has been 300 years since he saw another elf. He thought elves got extinct. Frieren says she also thought elves all died off. The other elf tells us it is too cold for him to even start a fire. It would not work. It was why he was working out, to stay warm. Thanks to Frieren using magic, he finally has a fire for now. This other elf's name is Kraft. Fern tells the room Stark is getting colder. To keep Stark warm, he was put in bed with Kraft. When Stark wakes up, he at first doesn't care what his whole environment is, and it has changed. Then a few seconds later, he freaks out. This wakes up everyone. Frieren tells Stark he is being too loud. Kraft tells Stark he needs to be nicer to him for saving his life. I love how both elves did not answer Stark's question on what is happening and just scolded him. Stark comments Kraft must be a strong person just based off his physical physique. Kraft tells Stark to stay inside and has Frieren and Fern help him get the frozen supplies he stored. He can use them now thanks to magic. Kraft asks if Frieren ever knows who he is. She says no. Kraft says he doesn't know who she is either. The feeling is mutual. Fern speaks up to tell Kraft Frieren is the mage from the hero's party. He doesn't care about that. He wants to know who she was before. We do not get an answer. Us, audience, do not know how Frieren lived a life before she met Flamey. We know a basic idea of how Frieren spent her young life with Flamey until now. Since the winter weather is terrible, our characters are stuck at Kraft's cabin. They live a normal life. They eat, sleep, train. I am not 100% sure what this animal scene is, but it would be cute if they were feeding the animals. 6 months pass by and they should be able to travel through the mountain. Kraft makes Fern a necklace as a parting gift that he gives to Frieren. Frieren asks why Kraft believes in the goddess. Goddess of creation only showed up once during the age of mythology. They have not been seen since. He tells her he just wants it all to be true because it just has to be. He wishes there was a goddess and hopes there is one. He wants heaven to be real and be reunited by those he has lost. In a flashback, we see Frieren and Heiter. Heiter funded a village's orphanage. Heiter says he is an orphan and he hopes the goddess will praise him for having a pure and proper life. Heiter points out Frieren has no one to praise her and he can tell she doesn't believe in the goddess. He says he will praise her. Frieren says she has done nothing in her life to be praised. Heiter says even though she has been suppressing her mana, that takes a lot of hard work to do, and all that hard work can be praised. He tells her they travel together, so he has noticed her mana is off. He wants to know about her in case he has a child mage. In the present time, Kraft is happy she is a good friend. Now it is time to part away from episode 11. Frieren is falling asleep as they are walking in the snow. Then she does end up falling asleep. Stark will carry her. Fern does not like that idea. She will carry Fernan instead. In a flashback, the heroes were given 10 copper coins for going to defeat the Demon King. This is pretty cheap. Heiter tells Frieren Himmel's hero sword is a replica. It is not the real one. A merchant gave it to him as a gift for saving him against monsters. Himmel became a hero because Heiter told Himmel with his fake sword he will be a fake hero when both of them were kids. Young Himmel wanted to prove young Heiter wrong. Himmel will become a true hero with the true hero sword as Heiter watches. Himmel says Heiter is the one now to grow up as a fake priest and a drunk. Heiter says he is a real priest. We end the flashback with Frieren waking up. Fern is carrying her. Frieren tells them there is a village by the mountain. Stark says he can carry her. Fern says no still. She can do it. After a while of walking, they reach the village by a mountain. This village is deep in the mountain. They have been waiting for Frieren. The village chief is a child. The village is called Village of the Sword. There is a Lord of the Mountain, which is never explained. This Village of the Sword used to protect the hero sword. This news is not surprising. We had a flashback with Himmel talking about his sword and then arrived to a Village of the Sword as the name. The hero sword was placed near this village. 80 years ago, Himmel was able to pull the sword from the stone. Unlike Excalibur and Arthur with the sword in the stone, showing the true ruler, this sword in the stone story is the one who pulls the sword is the true hero that will defeat Calamity from destroying the world. The village chief tells Frieren she was supposed to return half a century ago. She's mad Frieren is late. She says Frieren has a duty to fulfill. Her duty is to defeat monsters that appear around the village. There are a lot of monsters that appear. Frieren says the reason is because Himmel is the hero. This doesn't explain anything. Maybe we will get more of an explanation after they have fought the monsters. Stark finds a group of monster wolves by a cave. He defeats them. This cave is where the sword was sealed in the stone. The boss wolf monster arrives. All three of them work together to defeat the boss. Once the monsters are dead, Stark asks what is going on. He wants a better explanation. Oh snap! The hero sword is still in the stone! What? Yeah, we really need an explanation. Frieren says the hero sword attracts monsters. There is a barrier that prevents monsters from entering the cave sanctuary. Just because there is a barrier does not mean monsters can ignore their impulse to destroy the hero sword. Himmel failed to pull the sword from the stone. In a flashback, Himmel said he really is a fake hero. He, as a fake hero, will save the world and defeat the Demon King. And he did. In the present, Fern asks why lie. Frieren says it was by those who wanted Himmel to be the hero. Heroes do not have embarrassing stories told about them. Heroes are perfect. Stark stares at the sword, and I thought he was going to pull it out. He doesn't. He just walks away. They say goodbye to the village. Frieren will be back in 50 years. They have traveled to a new town. Frieren plans to stay at the inn reading her grimoires. She casually tells Fern today is Stark's birthday. He is 18. Fern says she should have told her sooner. Frieren plans to give Stark a potion that dissolves clothes. Fern pours the whole potion on Frieren and says she told her not to buy this. Frieren goes through her things to figure out what to give him. Fern walks around town trying to look for Stark. Stark has helped so many people in town. In the evening, Fern finds Stark cloud watching. Fern asks Stark to go on a walk with her. During the walk, Stark thinks Fern is mad at him. Fern directly asks Stark what he wants. Today is his birthday. Stark forgot it was today. He doesn't understand why Fern asked what he wanted. Stark says he never received any gifts for his birthday before. In a flashback, Stark is from a village of warriors. There are no acceptance for those who are weak. This group is being yelled at for poor display defeating monsters. They need to be like Stoltz. Stoltz has no dirt or blood on him. His clothes are always white. Stoltz is the older brother to Stark. Stark is a failure. He cannot fight monsters. Stark trains and accidentally gets Stoltz's white clothes dirty. Stoltz was very kind to Stark. One day the village was attacked and Stark ran away. He had no idea if anyone survived the monster attack. Fern tells Stark they should pick out a present. The past doesn't matter to Stark of the future. Fern brought Stark a bracelet. Frieren has made lots of steaks. This is a celebration dinner for Stark's birthday. Stark tells us Isa made him steaks for his birthday. which now makes sense. There was no way Ison in the hero party would ignore a birthday. Ison never got Stark a present because the present was in the form of lots of steak for the day. In a flashback, Ison is telling Frieren that steaks are his culture's way of giving gifts. Warriors receive their presents on birthdays as steak, and that is what they get. And it gets even cuter because Stoltz also made steak for Stark's birthday, and Stoltz was the one who told Stark to run away when their village got attacked so he would live and not die. Frieren found the steak recipe in her stuff, and that is why she made it. This is Frieren's gift to Stark. To help with the sad, cute emotions of this ending, Frieren still has some potion left. Fern tells her no, and Stark is now curious, asking what does that potion do, and Frieren says no, like don't ask, like he's not receiving this potion. Frieren is talking to a man who says he used to want to be an adventurer. He says everyone has dreams as a child that as an adult don't come true. The man tells us about his best friend growing up. The best friend looked out for him. The best friend went to become an adventurer while this man gave up on it. The man regrets not agreeing to try and become adventurers with the best friend. The man is in the woods to collect herbs for cooking in the harvest festival. That is when the man started to talk to Frieren. He is also stuck in a swamp. If Frieren takes his hand, then he will be free. He doesn't want her to make the mistake of letting something go like he did with his best friend. Frieren says she needs to think about it. She says she still needs to think. She is now trying to think of a spell to pull him out. She ends up pulling him out. Fern has arrived and tells the man she is sorry for Frieren causing him trouble. Fern will scold Frieren later. They are invited to stay in the village. Frieren tells him they need to go to a bigger town to replenish their supplies. She wants to go to the closest big town by today. This opening appears random, but soon we will be coming back to this small town, so it's not actually a random scene. As our characters walk to the big town, Stark is bitten by a snake. Stark has been poisoned. Frieren tries to heal him. She says a priest is better at doing this. She cannot heal him. She wants to get Stark to a church. The closest church is at the small town the man in the swamp lives. Frieren tells them Ison was hit by poison arrows that could knock out a dragon, and he lived. Ison was totally fine and acting normal. Stark is not acting fine, and he is not normal. Frieren carries Stark to the town and Fern follows. The main priest says he cannot help. The poison is deeper inside Stark than when he first was bitten. His younger brother might be able to help. The little brother is the man we have already met. His name is Sign. He gave up trying to become an adventurer to become a priest. He cures Stark. Once he cures Stark, he leaves. Frieren notices the symbol on the older brother's necklace. This is only given to the best priest of the region. Frieren says Sign has incredible magic abilities for curing poison the high-ranking official priest couldn't cure, and he doesn't have a necklace, but the older brother does. The high-ranking priest says Heiter gave him this necklace. It was a gift. He tells Frieren she is exactly how Heiter described. He tells Frieren him and Sign lost their parents at a young age. He raised Sign. Sign has better magic abilities than he does. He asks Frieren to take Sign with her when they leave this village. At night, Stark says he wants Sign to come with them. It will be good for their party to have a healer against poison. Frieren says she doesn't like how similar they are. Stark decides to go to the bar to ask Sign to join them. Sign at the bar is gambling and drinking, not acting too different than Heiter. Stark asks if he will join them. Sign says if Stark can beat him in gambling, then he will join them. Stark lost the gambling game and cries about it, making Fern and Frieren come outside. Sign also lost. The village chief is the one who won it all. Sign tells Frieren to ask someone else to join. He says he missed his chance with his best friend to become an adventurer. We flash back to Himmel asking Frieren to join them. She tells him she hasn't fought a demon in 500 years. It is too late for her to become an adventurer now. Himmel says he doesn't care about the past. He's only talking about the present. We go to the future with Frieren telling Sign the same thing. He says no still and to ask someone else. She tells him she hates Sign. She will also make him join them. Frieren is so determined to get the 4 members of the hero party back together. Fern talks to the village chief and gets Stark's belongings back. He only has his items returned because it's almost the harvest festival. Fern also got Stein's clothes back. In the hotel room, Fern says gambling is bad. She tells them a priest who drinks is normal because alcohol is the best medicine, which YouTube, it is not. Frieren says even if Sign doesn't join them, she wants him to become an adventurer. She will help him like Himmel helped her. Our new heroes stay in town, helping prepare for the harvest festival. They want Sign to join. He keeps saying no. They do not want to leave until Sign agrees to become an adventurer. Our new heroes ask his older brother for help. The older brother says Sign likes smoking, drinking, gambling, and older women. Frieren is an elf. She is old. They're going to try to use her old age to help them. Sign walks into the church. When he sees everyone, he walks out. Stark follows him. Stark tells him he could adventure with an old lady, an older woman. That's really appealing. Frieren tells him she is the older woman. She is an elf. Sign has no interest in Frieren. Frieren blows him a kiss to seduce him like she did with Himmel. It worked on Himmel. It does not work on Sign. Sign tells us his best friend left and said he would be back in 3 years. It has has been 10 years. The best friend might be dead, but he's still going to be in this village. Frieren says it is only 10 years. 10 years means nothing, which of course 10 years to an elf means nothing. Frieren tells Stein he should try to find his best friend. He will regret not knowing. Stein says he doesn't want to become an adventurer. If he did, his brother would be all alone. This is why he never left. This is the true reason for his brother. So his best friend is probably a reason, but it's not the main reason. Stein overheard his brother talking to Heiter when Heiter was in this town. The older brother was offered to go to the capital city with Stein joining him. He said no. He didn't want to take Stein's home away, just like his parents got taken away by death. He turned down a job offer. The older brother yells at Stein. He says he has no regrets for what he did. Stein, on the other hand, does have regrets. In the evening, Stein says he will become an adventurer and look for his best friend. He says he will join them, however, not forever. It is only until finds his best friend, or at least knows what happened to him. We now have Frieren and 3 new heroes. Frieren Beyond Journey's End, episode 14, opens with the new heroes walking around a town that the heroes visited in the past. Heiter likes this town because there are a lot of bars. Himmel wants to go shopping with Frieren. In the present, Stark and Fern argue, and Stark leaves the hotel room. Stark didn't get Fern a birthday gift. Fern can be mad about that. However, we learned when it was Stark's birthday, he doesn't do gifts, so not buying Fern a gift is normal. It would not be normal if Stark buys gifts for others on their birthday and he didn't get Fern anything. No, this is normal. Frieren tells Fern she was harsh to Stark and she does need to listen to him. Stein is in the room and he tells Fern he also didn't get her anything. After being kicked multiple times by Fern, he says he will buy her a gift. He got bullied into it. Stein says boys Stark's age get emotional based off the girl's emotions. He tells Fern to go talk to Stark. Stark is thinking to himself about what happened with Fern. He is wearing the bracelet she bought him for his birthday, which is really cute. Stein is trying to pick a gift for Fern. Fern doesn't know how to talk to Stark. Stein says he thinks Fern overreacted to Stark not buying her a gift. Stein says Stark is dumb and doesn't even remember his own birthday. Fern did buy Stark a gift for his birthday, which Stein replies no one is going to say no to a free gift. Stein buys a small pouch for Fern and tells her to go talk to Stark, and then after they're done talking, they can go both pick out a gift for her. What Stein says is so true. People won't know how you feel unless you tell them. YouTube, no one is a mind reader. Remember that. In the evening, Fern and Stark talk. They both apologize to the other. Stark says sorry for not buying a gift. Fern says sorry for yelling at him. They make up for now, because they always argue. Stein and Frieren are on the roof just talking. As people get older, they are more likely to avoid conflict. Stein says it is the privilege of the young to argue. Stein knows Fern admires him, yet he doesn't know why. Frieren tells him she was raised by a priest, and since Stein is also a priest, she views him as Heiter. In a flashback, Heiter tells Frieren he hasn't changed. He is just pretending to act like a grown-up and will keep up a mature act until death. He is a grown-up for Fern. Heiter says the goddess will praise him when he dies. Before he dies, Frieren will praise him now. In present time, Frieren praises Stein. Stein is doing great as an adult. We change scenes to Stark buying Fern a bracelet, and now they have matching bracelets! It is time to move on to the next town on this journey. They got a ride from a merchant who lives in that next town. In the carriage, Frieren notices Fern's bracelet. Fern doesn't tell them Stark bought it. Frieren has a ring with the same design on it from Himmel. We do not learn if these jewelry mean anything besides a gift because an avian monster attacks. Poor Horsey for dangling in the air. Aww. They try to figure out what to do. Flying magic is still new. Only monsters and demons can fly in the air. For other races, it has been 40 years since they have learned to levitate in order to fly. Flying magic is a repurposed demon smell. It has its limits. Their plan is for Frieren to carry the merchant flying. Fern will carry Stein while flying. Stark is going to jump down to the ground. They are forgetting about the horse. Don't leave the horse behind. Fern says to not have Stark jump because he could hurt himself or die. They should try levitating the carriage before it touches the ground. No official decision is made. Frieren jumps out and kills the monster. They fall, and when they reach the ground, they are all alive. I have no idea why the horse is just floating in the air like this. The horse is fine though. The carriage is ruined. Our characters spend time fixing the carriage. It seems like our characters will always be stuck somewhere. Fern tells Stein Stark bought her bracelet for her birthday. It took Stark 3 hours to pick. Stark and Stein complain how hard it is to please Fern. We finally learn what the design means and that the jewelry does in fact have meaning. It represents internal love. So Himmel, who bought Frieren a ring with this design, loved her. They could have been a couple. Stark says he didn't know there was a meaning behind the bracelet. If the anime wanted, Stark and Fern could maybe have dated or could date in the future. Fern believes Stark was not smart enough to know the bracelet meant eternal love. She does not want a new gift though, so maybe their love story could be a slow burn, or maybe they'll just must be best friends. Fern is going to keep the bracelet. In this anime, now that we learn that jewelry with this design has a meaning, this could mean for Frieren, who is traveling to all the places the hero party went to, rethinking about Himmel has more plot stories. This anime is just a general growing up sucks, a sad story about thinking of the past. Of course, it is adventure and fantasy, but now it could also be a love story. Everything that has happened was Himmel loved Frieren because I really doubt Himmel didn't know what the ring meant. And Frieren, who misses her hero party, is recreating it while thinking about Himmel, that maybe in the future she will say she loved him. This anime is a sad story still. As time passes, the carriage is fixed. They will spend one more night in the woods before leaving. When the carriage fell from the sky, Himmel's ring to Frieren was lost. Frieren has been unable to find it. Fern tells Frieren they have to find the ring before leaving. Even if they both didn't know the real reason of the design, it is still important to find. The merchant gives Frieren a spell to locate lost items. Frieren uses the spell. In a flashback, Himmel tells Frieren she can pick whatever she wants as a reward for defeating the Demon King. The flashback shows us Frieren didn't know the ring meant eternal love, but Himmel did! He knew exactly what it meant. Himmel loved Frieren. Present time, Frieren does find the ring, and she is very happy she found it. She learns Fern's bracelet with the same design was given to her by Stark, though Stark didn't know its real meaning.
Frieren, Beyond Journey's End, episode 15, we do not see them in the merchant town from episode 14. They are in a new carriage with a new driver. Fern tells Sign she has been traveling with Frieren for 4 years. Stark has been with them for 1 year. Sign says there is one thing missing from this party. Fern guesses a thief. Frieren gets trapped when she opens chests because she loves collecting. A thief will help them with traps. Sign says it is a sexy, mature woman. They need an older woman. Stark says they have Frieren. Sign doesn't accept this. When they arrive to the next village, everyone is asleep. This is definitely a curse or illness, and we should know that it's probably a curse because I love fairy tales. So anytime anyone's asleep but is still alive, it's a curse. For Frieren, Beyond Journey's End, it could be an illness as well, but they decide to go in the route of this is a curse. Frieren wants to leave this village. Fern tells her no, they need to help. Sign tells Frieren this is a curse. Frieren says she knew it was a curse. She doesn't want to deal with it, but she will. A curse is a powerful spell that can put people to sleep or petrify them. Curses are spells humans do not understand. Depending on the curse, people cannot be saved. Priests are tasked with lifting curses because they are the only ones who can. Magic from the goddess and magic other humans use are different. Goddess magic is written in holy scriptures and only the owner can use them. They are hard to handle unless you are born with it. Magic by other humans are called mages. Mages cannot sense nor hear curses. Mages can use any spell anyone creates. Spells are for everyone. Then there is magic by demons. Demon magic is old and powerful, and this is all based off this anime world of Frieren Beyond Journey's End. I love fairy tales, and anytime there is a curse, it's always true love's kiss breaks any curse. If there's no true love's kiss, then this person will always be under a curse. This anime, Frieren Beyond Journey's End, has curses as only certain types can cast them, and only certain types of people can break them, and there is no true love's kiss involved. Sign says to lift the curse, he needs to do a ritual and needs equipment. Sign says it would be faster to take out the one who casted the curse. The curse is still lingering in this village. Stark falls asleep. Sign, Frieren, and Fern go off to find the one who casted the curse. They, for some reason, bring Stark, who's asleep and is just dead weight at this point, but I guess they didn't want to leave him behind in the village, so they carry him. At night in the woods, not even near the village, Fern falls asleep and doesn't wake up. This leaves Sign and Frieren left. They wrap up Fern and Stark to keep warm. Frieren puts a barrier up to protect them. It is all up to Sign and Frieren. But Frieren is not a priest. She's just a mage and falls asleep. Before she falls asleep, she tells Sign to wake her up to fight. She will only be awake for 5 seconds. I don't know if Sign will actually wake her up. The one who casted the curse is a flower monster. This chaos flower uses the sleeping villagers as fertilizer. Those asleep will die because they are slowly having their mana drained. Flower monster attacks Sign, who mainly is on defense. He tries to attack, however his spell is reflected. He debates on how he can fight. He debates if he should wake up Frieren or not. Sign remembers meeting Heiter. He told them and his best friend, adventurers don't need to have proper communication. They just need to believe in each other. Heiter says in the hero's party, the mage Frieren sucked at communication, but everyone believed in her words. When she said she would do something or ask them to do something, they would. Frieren kept saying she would defeat the Demon King, and without proper communication during the fight, she did it. They all took out the Demon King together. In present time, Sign decides to believe in Frieren and wakes her up for 5 seconds. He decides that he is not going to be enough to defeat this flower monster alone. It's all up to Frieren. Frieren wakes up and kills the flower monster. She already knew the weakness was its core. Everyone is now awake. Yay! On the road traveling again, Frieren praises Sign for his hard work. They arrive to a place called Org. This is the halfway point on their journey to the north. Before they even are at the gates, a man approaches them. He is a noble who wants Stark to come to his estate. His name is Lord Orden. Lord Orden invites them all to his estate, and
he is one of 3 houses, a part of the 3 Knight houses of the Northern Lands. Frieren says this current Lord Orden is as pushy as his grandfather. Lord Orden says he is only interested in talking to Stark and no one else. Lord Orden has a job for him. Lord Orden's oldest son is named Wirt. Wirt and Stark look alike. 1 month ago, there was a battle against demons. Wirt was killed. Only a few know his oldest son has died. Borg cannot afford to diminish morale. Until the exhausted troops are rallied, Stark will pretend to be Wirt. And I just thought of something. Wirt is the oldest son. This means Lord Orden has at least another son. That younger son can take over this whole entire town of Borg. It's cool they need Stark, but at the same time, they have another son who can just do that. In 3 months, there will be a gathering of influential people. Stark dresses as Wirt and will be present to show everyone he is healthy and alive. They will receive 10 gold straws for this. Frieren says they will accept only if she can get a grimoire. Lord Orden says sure, she can take any book in the library. Stark says this will not work. He has a scar on his forehead. Lord Orden says they told the public Wirt is under medical care, so the scar can be from the demon fight. Stark gets a crash course in etiquette training. The training is a lot or long days. Stark is tired. Stark tells Lord Orden it hasn't been 2 months since Wirt died and he thinks Lord Orden is acting cold. Apparently, Wirt wanted this. For some reason, Wirt wanted a double of himself to pretend to be him, which I don't know why. You can just tell people like, hey, my son died, we need to attack these demons even more, get revenge. I don't know why that there was such a need for a double. We meet son number 2. His name is Mutt. Yes, he is a Mutt. Mutt is weak with a sword. Stark remembers he was treated coldly also in his village for being weak. Mutt, though, is not looked down upon. Lord Odin does say Mutt is not as strong as Wirt is, but he works very hard and that hard work will pay off one day. This makes Stark happy that Mutt is having a different upbringing than he did. Lord Orden expects Mutt to become stronger than himself. Because Stark is pretending to be Wirt, a noble cannot attend an event alone. Fern is put into a crash course etiquette class for 1 month because in 1 month is the noble gathering. At the event, Stark and Fern dance together since they did go through training. They might as well have fun to celebrate their hard work. When the event is over, Stark and Lord Orden say their goodbyes. They also share regrets they have from life and talk to each other. By talking to each other, it does help both of them. It helps them move on. It takes Frieren half a day to pick out a grimoire she wants. They will leave Vorger hoping everything works out for its people.
Sign remembering his friend. The group goes to a dwarf named Vol. The group arrives at a village. The group meets Vol. The group works in the village. Vol trains Stark. Frieren remembers that Vol told her that he defends the village for his dead wife. Vol learns that the group is headed to Oriole. The group leaves the village. Sign tells the group that he is still looking for his friend. Sign tells them that his friend goes by Guerrilla Warrior. The group arrives at another village. The group finds an old lady who knows about Guerrilla Warrior. The old lady gives the group errands. The group finishes the errands. The episode ends with the group learning that Guerrilla Warrior is in Tur, which is in a different direction from Osser.
How was the video? We hope it was good. If so, please check these videos. Also, please comment down your thoughts and your suggestions for future videos. If you haven't already, please consider subscribing now to show the support to our channel. We hope to see you soon with another video right in this channel. Have a nice day.